How's it going out there? I'm getting ready to get ready and get on the road for the day, and I just wanted to, I have both of my prosthetics with me. I'm switching from one to the other, and I just wanted to show some of the differences since I had both of them with me right now. So the leg I'm getting ready to put on is what you call a suction prosthetic. How a suction prosthesis works is there's usually some type of there is always some type of an air escape valve. Sometimes it can be built in the bottom of the prosthesis where you can't see it. Other times it can be a valve that's on the outside of the socket. And that's the two main versions that I've seen. Either like a valve that's built in the bottom, there's a hole in the bottom, and it just goes through there, through the pylon, and it's nice and neat and clean and tucked away, or one like this. The con of this one obviously is it's easy to bump against something and that sort of thing. You can see here this little nipple. I used to have a foot that had a diaphragm on it that would pull air out of this valve every time. The diaphragm would flex and it would actually suck air out of the valve. It's a one-way valve, and that was actually a vacuum system. Suction and vacuum are very similar. The main difference is with suction, it's your body weight that forces the air out. Every time you step, it just manually forces air out. Vacuum is where you have some type of a device that actually sucks the air out. In this case, it was a diaphragm. There's other systems where there's actually a air pump attached to the leg that has a battery that clicks on once in a while and that sort of thing. Vacuum systems tend to be a little more, what's the word for it? Consistent in their pressure, because it's set at a certain amount and it will constantly kick on to regulate that amount. Suction, you may lose some suction while you're sitting down and stuff like that, and that sort of thing. If both systems are fitting good though, and there's no leaking of the air or anything, they both work really well. So to explain once again how suction works is air comes out of the valve. This outer sleeve right here actually stops air from getting into the prosthesis. It stops air from getting in. That's why there's an outer sleeve. So that's suction system. And when I put this on, I'll explain a little bit more about that. Now the locking pin system is a little more of a traditional system, I would say. It's a little, I think it's, well, they're both pretty old systems, to be honest with you. Locking pin's been around for gosh, over 20, they both have been around for over 20 years, I would say. They've both gotten a little bit better and a little lighter, just like prosthetics in general. But how the locking pin system works is you put this on your leg, there's actually a pin on the end of it. That pin engages a lock that's built into the prosthesis here. There's actually a lock that sits at the bottom of the socket here. There's a button there to release it. So when you put the leg on, it engages in that lock, and that's what helps hold the leg on. To release it, you just push the button, and voila. That's your locking pin system. I've been wearing this system for the last couple of days while working. I've been doing a lot of walking, going up and down stairs and stuff like that, on some uneven terrain, going to apartment complexes and that sort of thing. There's pros and cons to both. This system tends to have a little more play in it. Generally, it's not as secure of a fit. It's a little sloppier. And I know that sounds bad, and it can be because you can get excessive rubbing and that sort of thing. And I'm generalizing here a lot. Either one of these systems, if they fit really well, the shearing and whatnot is pretty minimum. It's still more. There's still always a little more movement, I would say, overall with the locking pin system. Like I said, that sounds like a bad thing, and it can be, but in some cases, it's actually kind of nice. If you're taking wide strides, going up and down stairs, riding a bicycle, climbing hills and stuff, this system may actually be better because it's not as restrictive feeling. As you notice, there's no outer sleeve, and that can really help with your range of motion and make it a little more comfortable. And let's face it, it's super easy to put on. Less moving parts, less to go wrong. So it's a very simple system. A lot of below the knee amputees will start off with this system because it is so easy, and to accommodate your volume changes, just like with any other prosthesis, you wear socks. They obviously have a hole on the end of them to go around the pin, and the leg starts to get loose, you add socks to add girth to your limb, and that's how you adjust for volume changes. So you may start off in the morning as a new amputee, legs fitting pretty good, pretty tight. As the day goes on, you get hot, you're pumping that blood back and forth in your limb. Well, it may start to get loose. You can add socks to help increase the volume of your leg. And I'll probably do a whole other video on sock ply management at another time. So that's the locking pin. Now I'm getting ready to put my suction on, so I'm gonna back up just a hair so you can see how it goes on, and I'll explain how it works a little bit better. Let's see if we can get here so you can, there's my limb. Okay, so obviously like any other prosthesis, you have a liner. Putting the liner on. This liner happens to be the same thickness all the way around, but I always think it's a good idea to still put the liner on. Try to put it on in the same way, face the same orientation. And what I mean by that, and I'm sorry if this is kind of hard to see, is you want, because some of the liners actually have a little bit of a camber to them, and they will start to take the shape of your leg. So I'm gonna grab the phone here so you can see a little bit better. I've rolled this liner on, and if you see here, I've actually got the logo facing up towards the top. I'm off a little bit. I don't know if you can see that very well. I'm off just a little bit. In a more perfect world, it could be a little bit over this way, but that's good enough. Like I said, this liner is the same thickness all the way around. Sorry about it's the same thickness all the way around. Some of them are actually thinner in the back, so that this part is a little more comfortable. It's less material to bunch up when you bend, and they're thicker up front where you can take a lot of pounding while you're walking, so you got a little more cushion. This just happens to be the same thickness. So in reality, it really wouldn't matter which way that liner is facing, but it's a good habit, good idea to kind of try to orientate it the same way most of the time, because it will start to take the shape of your leg and get more, the gel and stuff conforms to you. It just will wear better if you try to put it on the same way most of the time. Kind of like shoes, you know, you put them on and they start certain areas where your foot shaped, after you get them broke in, start to conform to your foot a little better. And it's kind of the same way with the liner. So I am wearing a sock with my liner. I think this is a 3-ply, just to add a little bit of volume to my leg. Now, I was talking about how this works. Once again, I apologize about the juddery camera. So here, you see I have this gel actually folded down. The liners, I've got it folded back down a little bit. This gummy surface is gonna make contact with this gummy surface, and they're gonna create a seal. And that seal is gonna stop air from getting in. So now let me review this a little bit. I got the valve here. Every time I step, it forces air out of this one-way air valve. This valve will not let air go back up into it. It's one way. So every time you step, it forces air out. This outer sleeve is going to create a seal so no air gets in. So you've got air going out, none getting in. It creates a negative pressure, and that's what creates your suction. So let's go ahead and put this bad boy on. Once again, I apologize for this isn't the most clear video. I'm gonna go ahead and back up again though, so you can see me getting it on here. I'm gonna get way back here. It's hard to see still, I see. So I'm actually gonna get up against the wall here. So I've got the outer sleeve rolled down. You wanna roll it up just like your liner with no wrinkles and stuff like that. Now this is ridden down a little bit on me. There's some things you can do about that, because I want the gel to come up all the way up to my leg if possible. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna bring it out. It can tend to move around on you throughout the day. There's just actually a strap they make that you can put around here that will help hold it into place. So now my leg's not out in there all the way because as you saw I moved it back some. I'm gonna cheat it out just a little bit more. I'm actually using my leg with the liner on it, the outer sleeve on it, to kind of adjust how it's fitting on the prosthesis. Now it's a little higher up on the leg. I'm gonna have to roll this back down. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on the ground for a second, but I will bring it back up to show you what happens once I get it rolled up. Okay, there we go. Now you can see I've got the sleeve more up closer to the top of the liner, and there's the gel surfaces are making contact with each other. And that's creating a seal there for no air to get in. You can use your skin for the seal also. This is a really short sleeve. So it's better for me to fold the liner down. I could cut the liner. I like my liners long. The more surface that this covers, the better your suspension. You get shorter and shorter where you got less skin and liner material that you're grabbing onto. I know some people think it's a pain, but this sleeve is actually made from an old liner. And I know you're getting confused with sleeves and liners. Sleeve goes on the outside of the prosthetic. The liner is parts underneath here that goes on your leg. Took an old liner and cut it to make the sleeve. They do make specific. So this sleeve isn't as long. I like them to ride way up. You got a lot of skin surface covered and you don't have to worry about adjusting the height here as much as I am. But that's how it works. Stand up. It's gonna force that air out. And there you go. Now I still gotta put on my shoe on my other foot, but once again, I don't know how well you can see. There's the flag. It's not going anywhere. Here, let me put this back. Gosh, I'm so sorry about these camera angles. I know. So the leg is on. It's not going anywhere. And I'm ready to rock and roll and hit the day. Put my other shoe on and get rolling. So I just wanted to do a little, sorry about the move, a little video there about the difference between the locking pin system and suction. I know it wasn't very complete, but I hopefully gives you an idea of the difference between the two. Those are the two major systems that are out there pretty much for a below-the-knee amputee. If you have any questions or comments, and I know I didn't elaborate a whole lot, so if you want to add more description about how these systems work, also feel free to. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'm still out here in Austin, Texas. Be heading back to New Orleans after I visit with my daughter this week. Hope everyone is well. God bless. Take care.